Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And I'm back! Did you miss me? I actually really missed sitting down and making these meditation, story time videos where I talk about just things from my life. So I was thinking today of what video to make over here. I was like, should I break out the Melody Beatty books for the very first meditation book of the year, which I am going to actually read from one of the Melody Beatty books, Journey to the Heart. I picked out the meditation. The one from The Language of Letting Go is very, very serious today. So I think I'll save that book for another day. And I really like the message of the meditation and Journey to the Heart. So I'm going to read that to you first in just a second. But I actually got a comment on one of my last videos. And I really appreciated the comment because it kind of let me know what you guys enjoy over here. And the comment said something like, Peter, enough of these meditation videos. Talk about recovery, right? And so I do want to kind of send out a message today. Not so much about recovery, but about drinking. And so, because I think that's like one question I get asked a lot. Like, you know, what is an alcoholic? How do you define an alcoholic? Like, who do you think is an alcoholic? And, you know, when do you think you need to quit drinking and all this kind of stuff? So I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But before I do, I want to read this meditation. Got my new reading glasses. What do we like them? Do we not like them? Horn rim reading glasses. Okay. January 7th. Remember to be happy. The sign hangs on the wall of a bagel shop. Don't forget to be happy. Sometimes we get so bogged down in dealing with feelings, issues, problems, the realities and details of our lives, we forget to be happy. Often, happiness can be ours if we just remember to be happy. Joy is a choice, a deliberate, conscious choice. That choice is available to us each day. Our joy isn't controlled by others or by outward circumstances. Joy comes from a deeper place, a place of security within ourselves. It's an attitude, not a transitory emotion. Remember to be kind. Remember to be loving. Remember to feel all your feelings and to take care of yourself. But most of all, remember to be happy. I love that. You know, when I worked in treatment back in the day, we would start our day with doing this community thing, and we would, you know, go around the room, and like I would say, you know, like my name, and I would say I'm Peter, and today I choose to feel. And several of the people that I worked with really believed that we choose our feelings for each and every day. That, you know, and I say on my vlog, you know, you can start your day over whenever you want. And if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling sad, you know, which those are fine emotions, okay, to have. I mean, just because you're not happy, ecstatic 24 hours a day, doesn't mean that there's anything wrong. I'm a believer in allowing yourself to feel your feelings. I just don't want to stay stuck in sadness or anger for a long period of time. Like, I feel like I'm wasting time if I do that. If I stay angry for days on end or sad for days on end, you know, and there's not that there haven't been periods in my life where that has been appropriate or that I needed to feel that way, because I think it was me pushing through some pain or me forcing the next outcome in my life or something like that. But I don't know that, like, for me to stay on it for a long period of time does really any good. You know what I mean? And so I worked with several people that really believed that, you know, like, you can choose your emotions, you can choose your feelings. And so that's, we would say, today I choose to feel. And today I really believe that. Like, I really believe that, you know, if I'm happy today, I choose to be happy. And if I'm angry today, I choose to be angry, you know, and I can start my day over whenever I want. And that's a powerful thing, you know. Sometimes I have to start my day over 5 times. Sometimes I have to sit there and be like, okay, why am I allowing this small stuff to really get to me today, you know? Why am I, like, what's going on with me today? And I'm not talking about deeper issues and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's, you know, of course, a lot of people out there that have, you know, severe mental health issues and things like that. I'm talking about just day-to-day stuff that's going on. And so I think to sit down and be like, okay, what's going on with me today? Why am I feeling this way? And why do I want to feel this way, you know? And back in the day, we used to say the saying every day in this community thing as well. Oh, shoot, I wish I could find it really quickly because I used to love this. Speaking of meditations, hold on a second. It's by Hartzell Wilson. If I can, here it is. A new day. Today is the beginning of a new day. I used to have this memorized, but here it is. This is the beginning of a new day. God has given me this day to use as I will. I can waste it or use it for good. What I do today is very important because I am exchanging a day of my life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever. Leaving something in its place, I have traded for it. I want it to be a gain, not a loss. Good, not evil. Success, not failure. In order that I shall not regret the price I paid for it. And, you know, I feel that way so deeply, you know? Like, have you ever had a day where you're just really angry and, like, you know, PO'd at the world and, you know, it's just like everybody, and it's like you get halfway through the day and you're like, I've wasted half of this day just being so angry, you know? And I don't want to feel that way. I just don't. So that's a great meditation. I think it's a really great way, you know, to start the new year and having an attitude towards life and looking at, you know, like, well, we have the choice every day in how we are going to meet people, meet the world, meet circumstances, meet the things that happen to us, and how do we decide or choose to meet all of that, you know? And that doesn't, like I said, that doesn't mean that every day we're going to be happy, joyous, and free, you know? I mean, those are the things that are promised to us in recovery. That doesn't mean that every day that we're going to be, like, so extremely ecstatic and happy, but we can aim for that if we want, you know? We can absolutely aim for that. So I wanted to talk quickly on here about this idea of what is an alcoholic and drinking and things like that, because I always see all of these like New Year's resolutions, you know, around the 31st or the New Year's, usually not the 31st, but like the 1st, the 2nd, or the 3rd, where people are like, I'm going to drink less, or I'm going to quit drinking for 30 days, or I'm going to quit drinking for 60 days, or they'll say, I'm just going to slow down my drinking, or I'm just going to drink light beer. I'm not going to drink wine and hard liquor anymore, you know, and there's all these like differentiations between it. And so it's interesting because people will say to me, like, do you think I'm an alcoholic if I'm making these distinctions? Like, you know, I'm only going to drink wine, or, you know, well, maybe you're a wino. I don't know. No, I'm joking. But like, you know, I'm only going to drink wine, or I'm not going to drink for 30 days or whatever, right? I don't know. You know, I mean, there are obviously clinical diagnosis definitions of if somebody is chemically dependent or not, okay? I'm not talking about that in my video. The way that I look at whether or not I'm an alcoholic or not is, do I continue to do things knowing that I'm going to suffer more consequences, okay? So it's the idea of doing something over and over again, expecting different results, right? So it's like, if I've gotten arrested for drunken driving, and then I continue to drink and drive and get in a car again thinking it's going to happen, you know, it's like, I worked with this guy, worked in recovery with him, I sponsored him, and, you know, he's been sober for a long time now, and he would say to me, like, back in the day, like, when I first started working with him, he'd say, I had to call him, like, where he worked, and I'd say, why don't you have a cell phone? And he would say, oh, I can't have a cell phone. And I would say, why not? And he would say, oh, I get drunk, and then I drunk dial, like, girls I used to date, and it's, like, a total mess. And I'd be like, okay. And so, like, you know, I picked him up and took him all over the place and whatever, and I said, this has been, like, I don't know, like, this is 20 years ago or something like that. And I said, why don't you have a car? Do you have like DUIs or whatever? He's like, oh no, I don't have any legal problems whatsoever. And I said, why don't you drive then? And he said, I leave my car places, I get into accidents, it's a real mess, right? And he goes, I can't have a car, cars are problems for me. And I go, okay, so cars are problems for you, cell phones are problems for you. Have you ever thought that maybe it's not the cell phone or the car, that maybe it's the drinking, it's the alcohol? And he was like, you know, I really never thought of it that way. And I was like, yeah, maybe it's the alcohol. And I think like alcoholics, like we really don't think that way. You know, we excuse all of these things because we want to keep the drinking in our lives, right? You know, if you're somebody out there that is thinking that they want to like try not drinking for a while or whatever, I think that's fantastic. You do not have to be an alcoholic to not drink for a while. You know, I love when I read these articles and it'll be from somebody and they'll say, I'm not an alcoholic, but I gave up alcohol for a year and it was like the best year of my life and I felt great and whatever. When I tell you the bonuses that come along with not drinking that have really nothing to do with being an alcoholic, and this is the thing that I think that a lot of people miss, you know? It's like, I was engaged in a story recently and talking about this whole situation. I was talking about with somebody, and they were like, the way that they were communicating it to me was kind of like, well, like, I did my steps, I worked my program, like they completed something. And I'm like, that's not really a 12-step program. Like a 12-step program is ongoing. You do it for the rest of your life. Like it's not just like a class you take, you get a grade and you're done, like, right? And I think the other misconception about 12-step programs is that it's really about like drinking and drugging, and it's not, like, at all. Like really the first step is the only thing, you know, that has first step in any program is the only one that even has the word of the problem in it itself. You know, like in AA, alcohol is only in the first step. In NA, drugs are only in, you know, the first step and things like that. So it's not, the programs are not about drugs and alcohol. The programs are about working on ourselves and becoming better human beings, right? And so if, let's just say, if you take 30 days off or 60 days off or 2 weeks off or a year off, and you say, I'm going to make this year a committed year to not drinking, you don't have to be an alcoholic to do that, you know? You know, it's the same thing I see as somebody trying to eat healthier or work out or whatever, you know? And the benefits that come along with it are amazing. I would recommend it to anybody. You know, like, I can remember when I, like, was in treatment and, like, I got out of treatment, whatever, I mean, I started sleeping better. You know, I woke up, I was like, oh my God, like, it's just amazing. I feel clear-headed. I have peace of mind. Like, it wasn't just the hardcore alcoholic stuff that came along with it. It was just, you know, not having hangovers anymore. I don't know, it just was not having that urge in the evening, drinking other things, you know, whatever. And it was funny because, like, on this vacation that we took, I was telling my husband, Alex, I said, sometimes I get so sick that there are never any other options. Like, one night the bartender at this dinner that we had, he made me, like, a fruit juice, it was like mango juice, pineapple juice, and then, like, seltzer water or something. And I said, it's so nice, I'm getting something else to drink, because sometimes I get tired of, like, Diet Pepsi, you know, Red Bull or water, like, or coffee. Like, those are really, like, the only options you have. And Alex was like, oh, there's all different kinds of options and stuff. And I'm like, well, it doesn't always feel that way, you know? But the thing is, the feeling that I had the next day, like, I mean, I haven't had a hangover in, you know, 28 years. I used to have horrible hangovers. I used to have horrible hangovers at 21 years old. I can't even imagine at 50 years old what that would be like, you know, and I know a lot of people didn't. But I get asked that all the time, like, am I an alcoholic, whatever, and I think it's like a lot of people ask me that because they feel like you have to be an alcoholic to make changes to your drinking. You don't have to be an alcoholic to make changes to your drinking. One of the favorite comments I've ever received on this channel is this woman, she, like, reached out in the comment section and she said, you know, like, I can't remember what she said. It was just not too long ago. It was like 2 or 3 months ago, but she said something to the effect of, like, I'm drinking this, I'm drinking that, blah, 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 blah. I just don't know at what point you're an alcoholic and you should stop, or, like, whatever. And somebody responded to it. I mean, I saw there was a reply, and so I read it, and the person responded and said, why would you wait? And she said something to the effect of, like, I guess I'm just, like, waiting to see, like, how bad it gets or whatever. And this woman was like, why would you wait to see how bad it gets to, like, why would you lose everything before you quit? You know, and I think that's the thing. One of my very dear friends, her sobriety birth date, she was the one that called me drunk in treatment, and her sobriety birth date is January 1st. You know, she was never really a heavy drinker, ever. And she would, you know, she was a very hard worker and very, very serious, very smart. She didn't go out socially a whole lot with people and drink. And, you know, on her way home from work, she'd get a 6-pack of beer and she would drink. And she wouldn't even sometimes drink a whole 6-pack of beer. But every night she drank. Every night she had a 6-pack of beer that she would buy, you know. Sometimes she drank 2, sometimes she drank 6, sometimes she drank 6 plus 2 that she had from the night before. It just depended, but every night she drank. And she didn't like the dependency that she had on it, you know. My mom, sometimes she binge drank, sometimes she didn't. Sometimes she had a lot of consequences that went along with it. Sometimes she didn't. You know, sometimes my mom drank horrifically and passed out at a you know, dining room table with her face on the table. Other times my mom was completely fine, you know. What my mom said at the end was, whether I live 10 years, another year, 20 years, whatever, I want the quality of my life to improve. When I see people come into recovery that are 50, 60, and 70 years old, it is the coolest thing to me. I have friends of mine that have a year or two sober that are 70 years old, okay? And they decided that late in life to get sober, and they weren't forced in by drug court. They weren't forced in because, of a car accident or their family or whatever. They decided that, they wanted to spend the rest of their life sober, and I think it's the coolest thing in the entire world. But you don't have to be an alcoholic, to quit drinking for a while. You can just say, you know what, like I've decided that I'm going to take a month off. See how it goes for you. See how you feel. You might feel better, You might miss the bottle. And if you miss the bottle, well, like I always say, you might want to reevaluate your own substance abuse issues. But anyway, let me know what you think about all of that in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.